I'm definitely gonna have a strong opinion on Half-Life Killer first-person shooters. I'm gonna have a very strong opinion on this.
Every medium has that era that made anything that came before seem a bit primitive. For example, in the 60s, music shifted rapidly. It's argued to be the most important era in modern music history, at least in folk, pop, and rock. Many new artists emerged with fresh new sounds and went down in music history as one of the greatest. The most notable band of this era is the Beatles. They developed an authentic silent sound that went to gather a huge audience. It became very successful and made them very popular. Probably the most popular, which sounds fun, but it wasn't. They had to tour for days and weeks and months. It became gruesome. They were sick of playing exactly the same music for exactly the same audience. So they stopped touring. Not only because of their fatigue, but because it became outright dangerous to perform. After this, they had
Yeah, probably it would.
more time and started making new albums that felt as fresh as their debut.
I'm gonna open this window. Hold me. Okay, give me a second. Boom. Boom. That's definitely working. Okay, as we do this, put you around, do that, do it again, put it in, pause, put it up here, boom, and my headset disconnected. Nice. Don't you love when that happens? Cause this cord sucks balls. Anyways.
But extremely different each time. And they weren't alone in doing this. Most major artists of the 60s reworked their sound many times over in that decade alone than most will ever do in their entire careers. If you look at the albums of any band or artist in the early 60s and compare them to the late 60s, you learn one thing. Drugs, especially LSD, gives you musical superpowers. Now let's test that theory. Here's a tune I just came up with last night. However, video games compared to music as a medium is a tiny little kid. In there, every game should be Lethal Company, cause Lethal Company is cool face, so we might not have even witnessed that decade of shift and growth yet. But for now, at least in my opinion, it's the 90s. Video games went from plumbers doing stereotypical Italian accents to killing machines doing very stereotypical Chinese accent.
I like nuclear weapons.
Anything regarding to games in the 90s happened quickly. Genre-defining games came out just to be toppled by another game. The influence is still not wearing off. Games are still to this day ridden with the grungy and crude DNA of the 90s. Oh, and we went from 2D to 3D. Just to mention a few technical leaps. Many of these games came out because of competition involving hardware and consoles, which before was dominated by just Nintendo. Nintendo was the guy, the McDonald's of video games, except no one else was around. Not a chain, not a food, just the pure flesh of Mario. That was all they ate, that was all they had. And then Sony decided to enter the business of making a lot of money and the best startup sounds of all time. And then Sega made Sonic, which has led to the board ending. Both Mario and Sonic were in competition, and Sonic excelled at platforming, and it had really good music, but it was still a rivalry between the two. Till we went 3D and Sega went backward. But it might sound surprising that the gaming scene for the mighty PC was barren. Computers were not considered a machine for games or much else really, rather than office work. The most exciting games on computers were text-based RPGs, which, believe it or not, this is a video game. This is a full-on video game. Could you believe it? It's like how old people say, "You kids have it easy. We used to jerk off to this kind of shit." Well, guess what?
Wow.
But you don't have to get off to that anymore, because the guys at id Software or Ideas from the Deep came up with a bright new idea: killing dogs, soldiers, and Hitler in 3D, kind of. Which is a weird thing to get off to, but you do you, man, and I support you to some extent, not all of it. But how is this possible, people ask? How did they came up with this idea? This is so good. This is like realistic. That's it. I'm calling it gaming has peaked in 1992.
Yep.
In 1993, a game similar to Wolfenstein came out, made again by
Nope,
id Software.
peak 9
The hype for this
93.
game back then even was so much that while uploading it to the servers, they crashed multiple times because there were hordes of angry 90s G-worded gamers stoked for this game by simply the promises made by id. This shit sounded alien, but no matter how big the hype was, it was impossible for those people to even fathom what they were witnessing. They were seeing Doom planting the seed of the future. You weren't running around mazes anymore like you have been for the past 2 decades.
2 decades of that? Fuck no.
You were walking and running in actual developed levels with actual depth. It had secret upon its sleeve. A gun called BFG, which stands for Big F***ing Gun, for a big f***ing game. Saying Doom was huge.
I mean, the file size is like not even a gigabyte. Are we sure now?
It's like saying the grass is green, or the sun is hot, or the shotgun is the best one. And of course, people try to clone Doom because have you seen this big pile of money? Do you guys eat cereal? I know you do. You're probably having some right now. But
No, I'm reacting to done my shit. Cause Half-Life is better.
did you know if you bought certain box of a cereal brand in the 90s, you could have gotten a free game? Check
No.
Squist. Basically Doom,
But with Jesus, you can get some Minecraft coins.
but without guns and demons. It's like you get a free box of cereal, but you gotta mix it up with water instead of milk. It was so popular that people started referring to every first-person shooter as a Doom clone. Except there was no first-person shooter. There was nothing like Doom before Doom. There were attempts at a first-person view and texture mapping, the very definition of the word attempt. None of them did it like Wolfenstein, except for Doom and Ultima. And Doom did it 1,000 times better.
Yo, refresh rate back then we're going crazy.
That's 3D.
And
That's 2D technically.
then Quake came along.
Quake. Oh. This is my go to the Half-Life. Without this, we would not get Half-Life. Then Prop Hunt. And TF2.
Anything that Wolfenstein attempted, Doom popularized and Quake made it a standard. With this game, it happened.
Yo,
Doom clones
I need
finally
this game.
matured into first-person
Holy.
shooters. All this innovation in design and programming, a birth and rebirth of a
You
genre
told me this is not a Doom game?
shooters, all happened in the span of 4 years. Just 4 years. id Software did more than some actual real-life presidents. Quake is basically Doom, but a hell lot faster. The gameplay is the usual, blood and guts, a workhorse of a shotgun, no context needed, find the keys, and pull the trigger. That was first-person shooter. Fun.
Get them fighting each other.
Oh, yeah.
That is so cool.
Yeah, I'll show you that.
While developing the game that went to change basically everything, Tom Hall, one of the founders of id, who joined when id was a so-called idea.
Which one? Tell me why this one looks like he's plotting something. He's looking to plot world domination.
from the deep, listen to what the team had in mind and went to work on the Doom Bible, a document that provided concepts, fresh ideas, and context for what was happening in the game. However, most of his ideas were rejected by the team, mostly by John Carmack, who had a very different idea for Doom, saying what he was doing is basically worthless. It is not helping the game being built, and he degraded his ideas. He especially disagreed with the game following a narrative. Tom was later forced to leave it for a number of reasons.
Why? Oh, but you gotta tell me, aren't you?
Of them was his lack of valuable input, at least from Carmack's point of view. If you're familiar with John Carmack, you know that his relationship with games is not because of storytelling. Maybe it's a bit mechanical.
The other guys are working on Quake 2, and this is going to get some of the technologies will be rolled back in along Quake 2 for the graphics technologies advanced in the early days of graphics technology. It's pursuing 2 other different graphics engine technologies. We have people that are working on technology.
You know, I'm probably not going to be one of the people at the forefront of that technology.
Something closer to light field technology.
3 generations of hardware that could have used this technology, get some value out of the newest generation of graphics technologies as we're doing this newer and newer graphics technology.
Technology. So it's a technology, reviled motion interpolation technology, some infinite detail technology, and that's just the reality of the way the technology works that we have to deal with.
Carmack is the guy who made all these crazy ideas come to life. He's not only a genius, but a dedicated hard worker. And he was far from being new to the engine game. His engines were ahead of their time. They brought concepts into reality that people thought were simply not possible on the current machines. But he just woke up one morning and did all of those, not only because he cares, but because he was having too much fun. He enjoyed contributing to a space that was still growing. So he went to help other developers by letting them use their engines for a fee. One of the projects that started out by acquiring one of his engines, the Quake engine, was Half-Life. Even the hired level designers were mod creators for Quake and Doom. But ironically enough, Half-Life ended on the exact opposite side of what Carmack stood for in terms of design.
Scientist!
Story in a game is like story in a porn movie. It's expected to be there, but not really important. I like my video games like how I like the stuff I jack off to. If a game cannot get me off, why would I even play it?
Okay, 1 second. Let's open another window, bright. Open another window, a wave. Put over here. Ready? So let me place this face right here. There we go.
Give me something to jack off to. These string of words have been around, quoted everywhere in every video and post I've seen about Carmack and Doom, and it has aged very badly. But take into account, this sentence was uttered when video games look like this. So no sane human being saw this and thought, oh my god, you guys, I have an idea. We should adapt the Greek tragedy, Oedipus, with this wonderful technology. No, people were busy playing fucking Sonic the Hedgehog, man.
Yippee.
That would go on to indirectly cause a Greek tragedy itself. To their surprise, though, video games started speedrunning, literally and metaphorically. They made so much progress in so little time, going from so-called pseudo 3D to full-on rendered 3D games with polygons and more advanced AI. Online play started popping up. The Civitan games changed, yet this gameplay remained.
I forgot they had to use floppy disk back then. That must have sucked now.
The same. It never changed. Kill demons, grab keys, and look for doors. Everything was changing with this mundane formula, but the game itself. But a group of developers decided that there should be more than just graphics. Changes needed to be applied.
I do apologize.
Gordon Freeman. Wait. Am I doing it wrong? Yeah, appeared like he was sleeping on the job. Wow.
For what must seem to you an arbitrary imposition, I trust it will all make sense to you in the course of... Well, I'm really not at liberty to say.
Half-Life's story is not on par with Shakespearean plays. In fact, it's convoluted mess, concepts that are just cool concepts waiting for the next chapter to tie it all in and give it meaning and give some answers. Where do
Holy, 9 years ago was crazy.
the Combine come from? Who is the G-Man? Is he God? Is God real? If he is real, why did he allow these atrocities to happen? Did God do this so the Combine could prevent 9/11?
That's a real video too. I never watched it. I've actually watched that video before. Look at this. I've actually watched a video before. Yeah, my recommended is crazy. I'm gonna watch that later. So let me just like say watch later. History. Wait, no, I don't search it. What do you miss one? Alright. The Combine. It has to, yep, I told you, I watched it before, I've watched it.
There are richer and more layered stories told through video games, but Half-Life has one advantage that makes any seconds of this experience more unique to itself. It isn't embarrassed to be a fucking video game. It embraces it with open arms, uses the uniqueness provided by the medium, explores the possibilities, and tells this mess of a story taped together and makes it cohesive.
Whoa.
The decay of this environment, of this world, speaks for itself. There is no need for exposition when it's all happening right in front of your eyes. The levels and the plot are chained together. The story of Half-Life, at least the story told through in games, wouldn't have made a bit of sense if it was anything else but a video game. A guy picks up a crowbar and brings down the military, aliens, stands up against an army of universal threats that the human mind can't even fathom, and starts a revolution in occupied Earth, and doesn't say a single word while doing so. If you pitch this idea to anyone, they would buy you the idea, but never make it. Just to fuck with you, just to make sure that your idea stays sealed and never sees the light of day again. And they will shoot you in the head and throw you in a ditch, so you would never come up with an idea again.
Rescued at last, thank God you're here.
Damn. Half-Life on a PS2 will completely change the way you look at first-person shooters. Ew, the body texture sucks.
I had a copy of this PS2 Half-Life port when I was, 8, and let me tell you, this port was perfect, incredible, just for one reason. It had Half-Life Decay, which was this co-op mode they made exclusively for the PS2, and when something is co-op, it's just automatically more fun. Go look it up, it's a fact. Deep Rock Galactic.
Obviously. My brother still won't play games with me though. That's kind of sad.
A game about...
He has to be kicked out of Roblox. He doesn't go outside. He doesn't know what grass is. Sad.
Mining minerals in the deep dark caves. That's just a step away shy from Great Depression, the video game. However, don't forget that this was also a port of the original Half-Life. I remember going into this world just enjoying existing in that science lab and cafeteria, just roaming around, checking out the little details. I found out if I turn the lights off, people actually get annoyed by it, and they react to it, they turn it back on. I like places in games that allows you to take a moment, just mess around peacefully with other characters present doing their own thing. Half-Life had a very lo-fi feeling, if that makes any sense. Yeah, it all ended up...
Bad pause. But, the fuck does lo-fi mean again?
After like 5 minutes. This relaxing, safe working environment went to shit. Your friends, co-workers, they all died.
Someone help, bro. Oh yeah.
Within seconds, everything was tearing apart. Everybody's dying. It did not make me feel very happy. I was very scared. See, Half-Life is considered a horror game. I don't want to talk shit about my 8-year-old self, but let me tell you, when it came to horror games or anything horror related, he was a major pussy. But I manned up for this one. I said, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna finish this game. I'm gonna hold on to this. And I found out one of the Barneys and accidentally killed him, just out of curiosity. Just wanted to see if I could do that. Made me feel very guilty and lonely, but I still held on till I saw this hallway. I heard the echoes behind these walls, the ominous noises far above, that promised even worse. I
shoot him, he's moving.
Felt if I took another step from here, nothing good will come of it. I never played the game again for another 10 years.
Wow.
But I was right. 8-year-old me, despite being a major he was right. He predicted everything. He was right about everything. Any other step, the world would have gone to shit. It would have led to me to discover the downfall of every corner of humanity. Right after the Resonance Cascade, you find a scientist trying to bring back one of the security guards using CPR. In most of my playthroughs, I didn't notice it consciously, but in one of them, I stood there for more than usual to truthfully get some footage. And to my surprise, he brought him back on his feet.
No way.
Using CPR. That wasn't there for sure. That wasn't a 5-second loop repeating on. No, that actually was a genuine attempt to save this guy's life. These games is full of these moments that gives these repeated sets of models some character and soul. Or at the very least, they die in some sickeningly funny ways. Doom sometimes threw you these curveballs. You were shooting down demons, doing what you were always doing, just having fun. But sometimes it took one step to end up in the wrong place.
Yeah, it really does sometimes.
Hearing sounds of hordes of demons in a dark room with lights flickering, this mixture of demons growling and the sounds of bullets. You didn't know if you were actually hitting anything, you were just hoping that you were. It created this haunting atmosphere that wasn't quiet, and that was the point. It was trying to overwhelm you till you broke.
That's exactly what my Half-Life Water does, I'm pretty sure.
Everyone at Valve is a big fan of the first-person action genre, and we felt when we remembered back to our earliest experiences playing Doom, how much atmosphere there was in those games, how much you had a sense of being transported into a world that you hadn't been before. The directions that everybody went after that seemed to be to trivialize the genre.
Holy, he was young back then. And now he has a beard. A white beard. That's kind of crazy to think about.
To just make it a shooting gallery rather than recognizing this opportunity to be in this interesting, exciting, scary world. I mean, playing Doom, I remember, playing it until 3 o'clock in the morning and suddenly realizing that I just didn't want to play anymore. Not because I wasn't enjoying it, but because I was terrified to find out what was around the next corner.
Wow.
Any first-person shooter that came out in the 90s started out with just shooting and killing. That's not surprising or wrong, it was the norm, and people want to see shooting from a first-person shooter. But Half-Life did the opposite. It showed the world first, it gave context to the gameplay. Valve brought a small world to life, and people liked it. They found the world of Half-Life to be interesting enough to care about its crazy, nonsensical story.
Oh, yeah, we'll make a point now, cause yeah. Make your point, dog, cause don't you say you hate Half-Life?
Quake won't be a game, it will be a movement.
With Doom and Doom 2, id Software had done it. They defined what it meant to create a game that was technically impressive, but just simply fun. Now it's time to move on, John Romero thought. He wanted to break out of the 3D action game with something else, anything really. An RPG, a fighting game, a medieval game, something that was not Doom, but technically better. But aside from his crazy ideas and ramblings, there was not much.
I'm gonna go ahead and give me some better mic quality real quick. If I just go to wait, do I already have on here? I don't. Nice. Alright, now if I just like go to, you know, I'm gonna let it run up on startup. Connected to Discord. Wow. Clean microphone, I guess. Now if I just go here, properties, boom, boom. You can shut the back end, can't you? Nice. What's it?
I just love my dog. Yeah. My brother told me how to taste the bag. Get right.
I forgot I have all this here. How do I disable this for now? Settings. It's like my dog. Well, it really works. That's kind of crazy. Okay, I'm gonna go here. You know, just delete it at this point. Let's be real here. I have the most questionable stuff on here. I mean, I have this at least. Stand up now and face the sun. I'm not trying to get copyright claimed. I have this too. Peak one right there. Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday. And right now, you can save £50 per person. That's £200 off a family of 4. Driving in. Nope. I love that song. It's so peak. Clinker Ew. Looks like we have videos in it. Just trying to clean all this up. Questionable stuff over here. Anyways, we can close that.
Much more to latch onto. However, people at it spent months creating concepts and assets for this game that has not come together yet. And more bad news, there is no engine to feed the pieces in. Carmack and the newly hired coding veteran Michael Ebrash were working on it night and day.
I'm back. Here we go.
And it still needed more of their time. It only started to come together after 11 grueling months, which is almost 1 month more than the gap between Doom and its sequel. And this is only for the engine. Carmack, who already had went through so much to make this new piece of revolutionary tech possible, did not want to risk all their work to be wasted on an idea that will alienate most of their audience. He wanted people to see and be amazed by this piece of technology, notice the possibilities, and use it. So he and the rest of the team decided something like Doom, maybe even simpler, cause we're tired. Romero was upset about the company going backwards instead of pursuing and capturing freshness. Its software went from having a harmony between tech and game design just to getting the game done. With disagreements came tension. Trust between them were broken. Their friendships turned into just being angry, paranoid coworkers. Carmack started to heavily monitor who came tension. Trust between them were broken. Their friendships turned into just being angry.
This is the darkest and weirdest stream I've ever seen.
Paranoid coworkers. Carmack
The
started
police
to
went
heavily
though, aren't they?
monitor his colleagues. He went from moving his desk to the hallway to suggesting that they should tear the walls down so he could have better control over them. Some of them worked for 18 hours straight just to get it done. All this added with a lack of real communication caused a disconnect in their level design, made them directionless. The level designers just went their own way and crafted levels with their own styles and chosen themes. Even Doom levels had more connection to each other compared to Quake. But how did they connect them in a way that it made sense? Well, they thought of a story when they were shipping the game and had to come up with something for the back of the
Yo, that audio without context sounds crazy.
box and the menu.
It sounds like I'm shaking it.
Too long, TLDR, too long to read. They didn't and could not care less. Carmack believed that it didn't matter if the game was again Doom. It was the technology that people were sought after. And was he...
I'm doing it. It's
Quake
crazy.
popularized and influenced so much. It
Oh,
would be easier
Call of
to name the
Duty?
game and influenced so much.
Yeah, we got Call of Duty. Crazy how Call of Duty's here. Look at this.
It would be easier to name the games that it didn't.
Doom and then Doom Eternal. Nice.
It was like Doom to Wolfenstein, but to Doom itself. Let's list a few things that Quake really helped to put on the map or heavily impacted. Online multiplayer, esports, modding, 3D graphics, games that you can use rockets for movement, first-person shooters, arena shooters, movement-based shooters, any video game that you can shoot a gun with. You name it, these all owe a huge thanks to Quake. So, was Carmack's tech over game design mindset wrong? Half-Life had an alpha version that was sent to publicists. This demo was considered impressive in animation rendering and graphics. It also happened to look like this. However, the date on these files are only a couple of months behind the original Half-Life release date.
Holy 1997?
So I'm guessing the finalized work could not have been much different from whatever this is. Thankfully it got delayed. When something gets delayed, I usually imagine two things going on. Either they are fucking up hard, like it's bad, really bad, or they really, really care. When something gets delayed, it needs to be delayed. People might not like it, but they will for sure hate it when the game is simply not fun or outright unfinished. They will for sure get their money and time wasted, and the people who make those decisions have to sit in front of the people who pay them and say no. That's really, really hard to do. They didn't decide to delay the game just because it was unfinished and needed more polish. They delayed it by a year because it wasn't fun. The game had made breakthroughs in sound design and animation rendering and all that, but simply it wasn't fun as a game. It didn't feel like a complete package. Gabe Newell and Mike Harrington left their position in Microsoft to start a game company, not because they expected anything rather than
I'm just not realizing this. Imagine being one of the people who actually saw a copy of Half-Life in a store. That would be crazy.
Failure, but because they loved video games, they cared, they thought their vision needed to be seen and played. So they brought in people who were talented artists, programmers, and the most obscure mod developers to make something that was, at the end of the day, worth paying attention to, but at the same time fun. And this was anything but fun. So they scrapped everything, but their experience as a team. I sometimes dream of my own home, same one that I live in almost every day of my life. These dreams feel normal while they're happening. The illusion is convincing enough to fool me that I'm living another day. But when I wake up and walk around, I realize that in my dream, my house was not my home at all. It was built totally different. It had the essence of my place. It was believable to set the background for whatever else was happening in my dream, but it was not my home. Doom is exactly...
Okay, deadass. There wasn't even a point in this fucking video. The point was not here.
That for me. I have the same relationship with Doom as
it's a random fucking title.
I do with dreams of my own home. On the surface, it's pretty normal shooter. You shoot thing dies. Pretty good game, right? But Doom is weirdly structured. Something about the maps is off. Or to be blunt, nothing makes fucking sense. Hillside grasses next to blue lava. Stairs that lead to nothing.
Blue lava. That's water. my laugh is different. Holy shit. That. Wow. Holy shit, I must have been high as fuck. Okay, brain is crazy work. That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay, brain is insane though.
Support nothing. This is the reason that Doom never could tell a cohesive story. They don't want you to think about much else because it would break the illusion. It would break the loop of shooting down demons. And you know what? Shooting down demons is hella fun. I don't want to think about anything else when I'm shooting demons but shooting demons. The story in Doom would have truly been a story in a porn movie. Classic Doom games, Doom clones, or whatever you want to call them. It's you versus whoever designed the level. That's the substance. It's not a game with layers, it's a game where you shoot stuff and stuff dies. And this is good, this is good enough. This is good level design. It's fun, it's engaging, and I love it. But there is one fatal flaw that is present most of the time. That sense of I'm getting lost. Everything looks exactly the same. Where am I going? I have no clue. I don't know.
Well, you go to the video, my question.
So you wake up from your nice cozy dream of shooting down demons when you start to notice that none of these makes sense, none of these has any logic behind them. This turns high-octane gameplay to the slow search for a door in an endless maze of the same texture, looking for blue, red, or yellow keycards. Even games that try to be more realistic stuck with this formula. It's simple, fun, but narrow. It's just shooting gallery keycard, shooting gallery keycard. And not so many people try to change it up or wanted it to change for a while. But Half-Life did. Makes sense. Everything makes sense. There is humanity in the design of this game.
You were supposed to be in the test chamber half an hour ago.
It's not the first game that tried to be realistic. Duke Nukem early levels played out in an urban area and it had intractable NPCs and objects. But it's still Duke Nukem. There are flying monsters with jetpacks. If you can accept that as reality, there is also Duke Nukem, you know, the main character who is Duke Nukem, Half-Life wasn't realistic, not because of the graphics, but it still had its video game charm and quirks. It wasn't you versus the level designer, it was you being in a war that the level designer fought off. It was more cohesive than realistic, in a way that it didn't need a level-to-level template.
They told me to make sure you head down. Hey, what are you doing? Come on, Gordon. You trying to get me into trouble?
Any step that you take in Half-Life will lead to something new, and it will move on from that even quicker. There is an ambush to deal with, followed up with a spectacle, followed up with a very simple puzzle. Then you have a mounted rocket launcher to shoot aliens with, and now you arrive to a fight with multiple parties involved. All of this happened over the course of less than 5 minutes, which on paper sounds overwhelming as hell. This happened, then this, then that, but it never really gets like that, since the player is in control of the pacing. When you start moving, so does the game. Even in the time sequence, you could still move and look around. Pacing of Half-Life killed Doom and games like Doom. You weren't looking around for boring keys, for boring doors, you were moving at a swift pace throughout the entire game. This unknown studio has done it. They changed up the game itself. They did the thing that everybody thought it would fail, but achieved quite the opposite.
The goal of those multiple goals game, and I'm not a Valve developer, obviously, but one of them was, whenever you move, something happens. That's what the game does.
With what could be a financial windfall with the success of Quake, do you foresee ID?
You're the Barney. I'm not down here, I owed you. About that beer, I owed you.
What could be a financial windfall with the success of Quake? Do you foresee ID going in any other direction with games rather than just the first-person shooter?
As far as exploring other directions of games, we are probably going to be staying with the first-person perspective action games. That's our forte, that's what we do real well. And if anything, we're probably going to move a little bit back towards some things that we've done before with the higher tech, staying in the dirty, dingy future. It's something that all of us like, we enjoy the style, and it's obvious that lots of other people enjoy our impressions of that. So, no, I don't think you'll see us branch off into RPGs or anything else anytime soon.
One of the most vital games to Nintendo's catalog is Super Mario Bros. 3, a true sequel to probably the most recognizable game of all time. This one is more than just a bunch of new levels for an old game, or another game that they shaped into a Mario game, since those levels were kind of difficult and in the States they didn't like that. But not this one. This is new. This is something they never seen before. This is something they never played before. Nintendo knew they had something special on their hands, which to Nintendo is a bag of money time and time again. And if you don't know Nintendo, let me tell you a little secret. They love money. Probably
and hate fans.
Probably way more than you do.
To
sell as much as it possibly could, and they would do anything just to make another sale. But not everything. It was released for Nintendo consoles and nothing else, because why? Even though Nintendo likes money, they hate it when other companies also make money. They want the rivals to sell hardware because of their games. But even if they wanted that in another world, some of the machines weren't even powerful enough to run this game, like for example, computers, which could not have handled scrolling. And nobody could figure it out. Except, here's a twist that you might not expect, John Carmack. He did it. This guy, he's just gonna cure cancer in the world. Just wait and see it. He shared this scrolling trick with his coworkers, and they were stoked. Like, John Romero could not have believed it. At that moment, a cure for cancer would have been more believable to him. This was their golden goose. He was determined where they would be going and what they will be doing for the foreseeable future. Let's port Super Mario 3 to compute. Nintendo rejected the idea since they are a company which primary revenue is made by moving hardware. They said nice job though. But we're not setting a Mario to do prostitution. The boys at Ideas from the Soft Disk were really, really depressed. It was sad, really sad. Especially
Finally.
Romero was really depressed about this. But he remembered that he had a stalker that could help them to move their games. True story, by the way, but not really. This stalker suggested that they should move their games through shareware, which means giving away a part of your game for free on the internet, so if people enjoyed it, they might buy the whole thing. And since they got rejected by Mario and his masters, they decided to make their own platforming game. And they are making it for computers, which turned out to be the Commander Keen series. That was a decent success at the time, and people were blown away that Carmack actually figured out how to do scrolling on a computer. But a while later, and I don't know if this is true or not, I wasn't there, Carmack heard about a game called Ultima Underworld. This game used texture mapping, and he said, I can do that too, but faster and better. He made Catacombs 3D, followed out of Wolfenstein, which was mind-blowing, but not to him. To him, it's just not enough. So he made Doom, and Doom is kind of big. Doom is kind of this huge game. I don't know if you guys know. But even after this, he was like, you know what? I was gonna cure cancer, but the government likes cancer, so I'm settling down on the Quake engine. Then he made games that were okay, I guess, and had a cult following of some sort. Also, Rage happened, and Rage did not have a cult following. So I decided, you know what? Recent years has not been good to me. But I done enough. I done more than enough. I'm gonna throw in the towel. And I don't know, get into rocket science or something, because that shit is easier than making video games these days.
Modern world. I mean, the work that I do in video games is actually far more complicated than the aerospace work.
Carmack believed in the technology behind the game more than the game itself. He used any excuse he had to improve a piece of tech. And most of his excuses were video games. He pushed boundaries before they were supposed to be pushed. And because of this, the industry, his own co-workers, agreed with his ideology. His games got crispier and more advanced in technological aspects. They went all in for graphics and rendering. And they forgot that, hey, we are making a game. There is more to this than just sharp pixels on the screen. The games became a background to showcase the engine capabilities. That was what Half-Life almost became.
This is so pixely. Holy!
Before Half-Life itself killed this kind of game or approach to making a game. And this doesn't mean that these games were bad. They were in fact great. If they weren't, they wouldn't have made a comeback. But video games are more than smoke and mirrors on screen. Valve proved that. They escaped the maze and found a sense of purpose. And I think that's inspiring, to say the least.
So most of the games that I actually play today are played with my 5-year-old son. So I play a lot of Wii games, and I can look at that, and sometimes I'll wince a little when
Yeah, no. It's just clickbait. Yeah, no. That sucked. Holy. Hey, what's the you put it on 30 seconds so we can have an hour-long video?
I think, oh, this stage should have been done a little differently, or they should have accepted an input at this point, and these